Hi guys, so before I show the main part of this video, which is the interview, I thought I'd give this small introduction. So yeah, this was part of something I was commissioned to do, which is a feature piece for this website, where I had to write something about the theme and include at least 2 interviews. So this one with Matty Cooper, originally the video recording of it was going to be kept private. I was going to, well, I have written down what he said in the interview, some of the stuff he said, and included that in the post, which has been posted to that website now. I'll probably link that in the description. But the thing is, in the video interview itself, we did talk about some other things that I think are quite interesting and that didn't make it into the main post that I had written. So I thought I might as well release the video of it, like I did with the Neil Brand interview. Yeah, and I might share a link to this YouTube video on the website where the post is, which is what I did with the Neil Brand one. Yeah, the Neil Brand one I was commissioned to do just a regular interview before the feature post, but then some of the stuff he said in that interview matches the theme of the big post that I had to write, so I included that in the feature post. And I would like to say I did ask for Matt's permission to release this video publicly, because the thing is, in the recorded video that you're about to see, I think we do say that, oh, this is just going to be kept private, and I'm just going to write down what you say for the written article. But I changed my mind, and yeah, he did give me permission, so don't think that I'm like lying to him or anything. Yeah, he is okay with me releasing this. And yeah, Matty, for those who don't know, he works at the Laurel and Hardy Museum. I met him there when I visited the museum, and he has watched my videos before. He does. He really enjoyed them, and he has subscribed to me. So yeah, that's nice. So without further ado, here's the interview. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with it being recorded. Yeah,
Yeah, so then I can add what we talked about to my piece that I'm writing.
yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. I figured that's what you'd be doing anyway. I'm assuming that it's only you that sees this video anyway, and you're just going to write down whatever I say, type thing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I was yeah, so when I did the one with Neil Brand, that was something I was already assigned to do an interview with someone. And then
yeah.
the next assignment was to write a piece about a certain topic, and part of what Neil Brand said in that interview matched that topic, so I decided to include that. But I needed to include at least 2 interviews in this feature piece. So
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
maybe you might have good answers for you might know might give good answer to this. And basically we had to write something about like the younger generation or what have you. And Neil did speak a bit about like younger people who see his shows, and he said like
Just,
they're yeah.
just out of interest, was he quite positive about?
Yeah. Um, he said not quite as many as he would have liked. He said there was
Right.
some,
Okay.
but yeah,
Am I still here, by the way?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, it's just for some reason I seem to have taken a screenshot and everything seems to have frozen. Just bear with me. I'm using my iPad, so I'm not I'm not used to this. Bear with me. Oh, well. That's better. I think
yeah.
I can see you, but I've frozen for whatever reason. But it doesn't matter as
Okay,
long as you. Yeah, I can still see you, so that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, so he's quite positive. Sorry.
yeah. So I'd just like to ask first of all, like, how much do you see like people of younger generations visiting the Laurel and Hardy Museum? I mean, I know when I went, there was like a piece of paper that had like reviews from some of the younger visitors, but yeah, and they were positives. Um, yeah, what in general would be your experience with some of the younger visitors you've had?
Yeah, so the younger people obviously are a minority in the museum because the vast majority of people that come to the museum are older. But that being said, even though they're a minority, there's still plenty of them. Every week I'm always meeting, some families where sometimes it's the kids that are the real fans of Laurel and Hardy, or in other cases, if they're not fans or if they haven't heard of them, then they usually end up coming away from as fans because they've sat and watched the films and really enjoyed them. So I'm not feeling too negative about them losing the popularity as the generations go by, because I think some way or another, there'll always be people who know who Laurel and Hardy are. Some way they'll find their way into the public. Things like excuse me, when they had when Ross Owen screens the films in 2015 and 2017 for cinemas throughout the country, that kind of thing helps because people take their kids to see things like that, and watching them on a big screen is always fantastic. Things like Neil Vance show definitely helps because you know there might not be that many kids that go to his shows, but there will be Laurel and Hardy fans afterwards. So what Neil Brand is doing, is absolutely fantastic. Even things, I begrudgingly say this, but even things like the Stan and Ollie biopic does help in terms of the popularity of their films because it introduces them to a new audience, even if that means that people go away believing a lot of myths about their life stories because that film was very fictional, as you know. I've often posted about that on Facebook, but even so, it helps bring them to a new audience. So all these sorts of things, any kind of like advertisement of Laurel and Hardy or any of the great silent comedians, whether it's Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Harvey Lloyd, or whoever, getting it in front of today's audiences is always a good thing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
what makes them stand the test of time as well is the fact that they're still funny,
yeah,
and that really helps. When I became a fan of Laurel and Hardy, the reason my granddad sat me and my brother down is because we 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 walked into the living room one time and he was watching a Robert Youngson compilation film, which had a scene from Bonnie Scotland in it. And when James Finlayson falls in the water in Bonnie Scotland, that's when we started to laugh. So it's only that little glimpse of a Laurel and Hardy film which caught our attention, which made my granddad sit us down and watch Laurel and Hardy. So sometimes it can only have to be that type of thing which makes younger people watch their films. So,
no, no,
yeah.
it's interesting. Well, yeah. Well, I hope there will always be fans in the future who will keep their memory alive. Definitely.
I
Um,
so so yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it is a struggle. I do worry about the vast majority of younger people that haven't experienced watching the films, and I always think that's a tremendous shame because especially when in some cases, there's older generations that have grown up watching them in the 70s and stuff like that, but then they've not sat down their kids to watch Laurel and Hardy, and it's like, how much happiness have they missed out on? Not sitting down as a family watching Laurel and Hardy together, or indeed any classic comedy, whether it's Ollie Phillips and Horses or Dad's Army or anything. It's these things. Comedy is there to be enjoyed, and the best of comedy always stands the test of time, I believe. So.
yeah. Well, now the next thing I wanted to ask, well, the second thing I wanted to ask was because I know also you're a big fan of physical media.
Yeah.
I don't know if some people might see it as a bit old-fashioned with streaming is everywhere these days. But do you know, in your experience, how much do you know of like how much have you seen like younger people be interested in physical media?
It's a difficult one because, again, my experiences is only talking to people in the museum usually, and unfortunately, I do have to say that the vast majority of people, is many of them say that they don't even have a DVD player anymore, and that to me is heartbreaking. Just for a number of reasons. Obviously, the reason why we're there at the museum is because of Laurel and Hardy specifically. And Laurel and Hardy aren't on any streaming service officially. You could get them up on YouTube, but they are pirate copies on YouTube, and so the quality can sometimes be horrendous. If you type up Laurel and Hardy now, you will most probably stumble across busybodies in a very pixelated way, and it just doesn't do the films justice. That I don't think. I know. Just to be clear, I'm not against streaming. I see that it can be beneficial in many ways, and technically, what we're doing right now is streaming because we're streaming each other. There's a video call, so I'm not against streaming. But when it comes, but I don't think we should get rid of physical media, and that's more the point. Because we shouldn't be relying on streaming solely, especially if it's something that we love. Because let's be honest, if we are big fans of whatever, Laurel and Hardy or Oliver's Analysis or whatever, we want to be able to keep it. We hear of with streaming services, they will put up episodes of Friends, for example, but they don't always show the whole episodes. Sometimes they cut scenes out, and so whereas if you've got it on DVD, you got the DVD box set, then you get the whole episode, and it's uncensored. There's no fiddling around with it in any way, shape, or form. Also, with streaming services, they have a tendency to. It could be a rights issue or it could be a controlling issue. I don't know what it is, but they seem to put stuff up for 6 months and then take it away. And so I'm not a big fan of streaming for that reason either, because once you've got a DVD or okay, thank you. That's my brother, once you've got a DVD or a brother, once you've got a DVD or a VHS, or any of that kind of thing, then you've got it for life, essentially. So,
yeah.
But there's also many other things. I mean, if you're watching streaming, it generally tends to buffer. You get adverts, you get all kinds of stuff, which takes you away from the experience of actually watching the film. So I that's the main reasons why I've always stuck to physical media, particularly watching films. One other issue as well with streaming, and I waffle on about it quite a lot, but so you've got Paramount Plus, you've got Disney Plus, you've got Netflix. How many things of these are you going to have to subscribe to? And how much money is that going to cost over time? It's it's almost endless. If you like a film and you enjoy a film, you'll get that film and you can watch it as many times as you want, and you don't have to spend any more money than when you've bought that film on DVD. And some DVDs are cheap as chips now. You can get them very easily. So I don't. So they're the reasons I'm essentially pro physical media rather than streaming. In terms of younger people, I do think in some circles it's a bit like vinyl. Vinyl has kind of made a comeback, and you've seen it in HMV and stuff like that, which is fantastic. And I think the same thing will happen with physical media. I think people start to miss physical media in a way, and I hope it doesn't just become a novelty thing. And that's where the worry is that people might only be buying vinyl now because it's a novelty that they've got physical media. But I don't want it to be a novelty. I hope it is because of the fact that people are missing having physical media.
Yeah.
Just out of
Yeah.
interest, what's your thoughts on physical media for streaming or whatever versus
Well,
streaming?
yeah, I'm a big collector, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
you seem to like my videos on YouTube, where
yeah,
yeah, sure. One thing that I mean, I'm getting a bit more into watching physical media now because I've just got a new Blu-ray player, and the last one I had was a bit faulty, so yeah,
right,
so I wasn't using it as much. It kept going like black, the screen, and also it made a noise too much when like the disc was in it. So when I had that Blu-ray player that was getting a bit faulty, I wasn't using it as much. But now I've got a new one. I think I'll be
yeah,
using it a lot more. Uh,
yeah,
but also, I like watching, sometimes like kind of more obscure or like niche films, and some of those like it's a bit more difficult to find them on the streaming service. So you might
that's
have to
very true.
resort to physical media instead.
That's another good point, and definitely put that in your article if you can at some point as well,
Yeah.
because that is a very fantastic point. Because I've got, for example, where are we? This I don't know if you can see this because I can't see myself anymore. I've frozen,
I
but
can. Yeah.
these DVD sets. This one is off Lupino Lane, but there's quite a few of them of obscure silent comedians, which nobody these days has heard of many of them because
Mm.
Dave Wyatt and I forgot the other fella's name, but they collectors of obscure silent comedians, and you don't really get that on streaming. So you're absolutely right about that. I know it's you interviewing me, but I'm just curious myself because you're slightly younger than me, you're quite a few
Mm.
years younger than me. Do you feel that younger people are going back to physical media or not at all? Or is it all streaming these
Uh,
days?
I mean, I do know some other people who are maybe around my age who are interested in physical media, and I
Yeah,
do also see other young people when I go to HMV and stuff. But
yeah, yeah,
I guess I might have made friends over having the same interests. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I know some people.
yeah, yeah. Fantastic. It's one of those where again it's probably a minority thing, but
Mm.
it's always heartwarming to see when like younger people or even anyone really is using physical media and getting into stuff like Logan Hardy and all the comedy and stuff. It's always
Yeah,
heartwarming to see. It gives you hope for the future, putting it out
yeah,
there.
yeah. I think my youngest brother, yeah, tends to like physical media. Funny
All
enough,
right.
I think me and him actually kind of use it a lot more, physical media a lot more than our parents do at the moment. So
Oh, that's an interesting one.
mm,
Yeah, because I do often think that as well. Because I do talk to older people as well, and a lot of them have thrown DVDs, players away and stuff like that, and just don't use DVDs at all. I mean, there's one guy I know who's I think he's in his 50s, and he doesn't have any DVDs whatsoever. He literally just sits with his iPad and listens to his music on Spotify and watches like a BBC iPlayer and stuff like that, and he doesn't use any kind of like physical media at all. And it's an interesting point because we think of like streaming and stuff like that as being for younger generations, but there's a lot of older people that are addicted to social media, addicted to streaming, and sometimes it is the younger generations which are out there with their vinyls. So who
mm,
knows? Who knows what the future is going to be? And it is a new thing as well, I suppose. You've got to remember. I mean, it's probably about 2009, 2010 ish when the internet started to get as big as what it is today. So
mm,
so all this streaming has been the main thing. Is it's fairly new, so we don't know whether it's going to come around or we don't know if there's something else which is going to replace it because we always think that whatever's the new thing is going to be irreplaceable, but then there's always something which replaces it further along the line. It's the same when it's funny enough. I've always been a bit old fashioned anyway. So when I used to collect like Illuminati on videotape and stuff like that, and when the 21 DVD box set came out, I didn't actually see the point of getting it because we didn't have a DVD player. Oh no, we did have a DVD player, but I hadn't collected DVDs at that point. And I remember being in Asda, right, and we'd seen disc 14 of the 21 disc box set, me and my brother, and I actually said to my brother, I don't see the point in getting it because I've got all these films, videotapes from BBC Two, and the only reason he convinced me to get the disc 14 from the 21 disc box set was because it had colorized versions of the films which I hadn't seen before. So I thought, all right, I'll buy it and I'll give them a chance. So ironically, I got my first DVD, being intrigued by the colorized versions of Laurel and Hardy's films, and I immediately put them on and thought, ugh, this is disappointing. So went back to black and white, and I've always been black and white ever since. But hey, all right, that's an interesting variation of me trying to adapt to a changing world, which I've never been very good at anyway. So I've always been a bit old fashioned. So that's probably why I'm very physical media. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I prefer the black and white versions over the color versions as well.
Yeah, they're much better. Much better. I mean, I think if Peter Jackson recolorized them today, I think they'd do a better job. But at the same time, Hal Roach once said, "Well, they're not any funnier in color as they are in black and white." So I just don't see the point. And he had a point because we've grown up watching them in black and white, and it never bothered me that they were in black and white. I watched them when I was 6, and I don't even think I thought anything of it, to be honest with you. I might have questioned my granddad, why is it in black and white? And I think for a short time I was dumb enough to believe that people lived in black and white back then. I didn't think it was just the film that was making it black and white. I think there was once a time when people lived in black and white, and then suddenly they had Technicolor. I was that dumb back then. Remember how dumb I used to be? Well, I'm better now. So yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting story. That the reason I got into DVDs was through the colorized versions of Laurel and Hardy, which I've always hated.
Yeah. I think you gave pretty good answers to my questions. So
sorry if they're a bit waffly. You'll probably have to edit them down a bit.
Yeah. I'll write down the stuff that I think is the most relevant to
absolutely.
the overall point.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't feel you've got enough, or if you've not answered it in the correct way, if that makes sense, then feel free to just give me another video call, and that's absolutely
fine. I think this went quite well.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're happy with it.
it.
I'm intrigued to see the finished pieces. So what's it for exactly? Remind me again what you rated it from.
So it's for a website called Voice Magazine.
Right.
And I've been writing stuff there for over a year. I mean, I started another group associated with it last year.
Okay.
I'm doing another group this year, and apparently this one will end with getting paid. I think for writing this big feature piece that has 2 interviews in it. I'll get paid, I think, £50. It said.
Oh, right. But it's good. It's a good start. It's good that you're being paid, because that was going to be my next question. If you're being paid, because if you're doing all this writing for them, then I think you should be being paid. Because it is a job at the end of the day. But yeah, fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to reading it anyway.
Okay. So I'll end this call now, shall I?
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. All right. Nice to chat to you. I'll speak to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.